Hi guys, welcome to the fourth video of the Guardian Scraper series. So we had reached this far where we had started writing the outline of the other functions, and then we were in our crawl function, and we had called our resolve relative links function, which basically helps us to resolve the relative links of a link that we are currently scraping. Alright, and here we have a variable called correct link in which we'll get this link, and also this function will also return something called as OK, this variable called OK. So here what we'll do is we'll check if everything is okay. Then if current link is not equal to nil, in the sense there is a link, then what we'll do is we'll say found URLs, which is basically what we're going to try and return from this function, which is a slice of strings, right? This found URLs, and which is a slice of strings which is currently empty. So in found URLs, what we'll do is we'll append found URLs, comma, your correct link, and here towards the end we can say return found URLs. Okay, and right now if you can see what's happening is we're just going to different links on guardian.com and then finding and discovering more and more links, adding them to our work list, and then getting that list again from here, arranging over that list, getting links one by one, and checking in our scene map whether this link has been visited or not. And then for every single of those links, we are calling the crawl function to actually go and find more links on that page. And so basically we're just working with links right now. We're just talking about links. But if you wanted to, okay, so I'll leave this up to you. If you wanted to, you can parse those the HTML on those links, and you can do whatever you want with it. So let's say if you want to just copy some articles from guardian.com or something like that, you could do that. You could create this function called parse HTML and pass your response that you're getting here from your get request function. You can pass it here, and then in this function basically you can parse the HTML. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to parse the HTML because I don't need any of those articles from guardian.com, and also I'm not sure if it's okay to show that on YouTube. so I won't do that. And you can go ahead and you can basically parse HTML, and you can also scrape any website of your choice in this way that I'm showing you. It's not just limited to guardian.com, right? So that the concept is the same everywhere. And here this parse HTML function just takes response parse HTTP dot response, and I'm just going to leave it empty. You can fill this. So how do you parse HTML? If that's your question, then you need to check out a lot of the other videos on my YouTube channel where I cover Go query properly, and you'll be able to understand how you can parse HTML very easily from. So there's this video on parsing Google results, on parsing Bing results. You can check them out. It's very, very straightforward. All right. So this was our crawl function, and now let's start working on our get request function, right? Actually, before that, let's create a function for random user agent. So what I'll do is I'll say random. So now this is the exact same logic in this function that I'm using, that I've used in my Google and Bing.com scrapers as well. So in case you don't understand how this works properly, you can go and check them out as well. Right. And you take a random number. You say random.int and percentage the length of user agents. So all the user agents that are present in this slice, we'll take their length, and then we'll divide that. We'll divide any random number by that length, so that we get basically a random number between 1 and the total length of this user agents. That's what we're trying to do basically. So we're going to return the user agent which is present at that random number, right? At that random index, whatever user agent is present, we'll return that. So we want to use these user agents randomly every single time we make a request, so that our chances of getting blacklisted on any website are low. All right, so that was your random user agent function. Now we'll work on our get request function. So get request function, as you can see, takes a target URL. So we'll say target URL and string, and it returns something, right? It returns a response and an error, which we have kept it blank here. So let's say http dot response comma error. Okay, so that's what your get request function does. And now what I've not been doing here is basically importing the packages that we need. So we need the fmt package, we need math/random package to create that this random number here, random integer. We need net/http package because that's what we need in our get request function. And then we need strings, and we need time, and we'll also need net/URL package. And obviously we need the package that we installed in the beginning, which is github.com/puerquito bio/go query. Okay, so far so good. Now let's start working on our get request function. All right, in our get request function, we'll take a variable called client, and it's of type http.client. HTTP package, we use that to create a client for us, and we store that in client. And we'll say http.new request. So new request is a function in your HTTP library that basically enables you to make a request to any link. So here you can specify the method, like for example this is the get request method, and here we'll pass the target URL, all right, and comma nil, and this basically gives us the we'll take this in a variable called request, and the error we'll keep it blank here, blank character for the error. And now what we'll say is we'll say request dot header dot set, and we'll say user agent, and we'll say random user agent. So in the header we are saying that this request is being made by a user agent, which is a random user agent, which is a function which basically selects the user agent randomly from any of these that are present here based on the length of this slice. Okay, and all now we have to do is make that request. So we'll use the client.do, the http.do method to make that request. So our request basically has a header and has all of this information. That's a get request, and this is the target URL and all of those things. And here what we'll do is we'll catch that error, and also we'll whatever response we'll get, we'll take that in this value called res. And if error is there, which means error equal to nil, we're going to return nil comma error. Else we're going to return response comma nil. So the same thing, if you want, you can do here as well. You can just copy this and paste it here as well. Right, so you have proper error handling built in. So that's your get request function. And now what we can do is we can either work on our discover links function or our resolve relative links function. So what I'll do is I'll start working on the discover links function, because that's the one that comes before resolve relative links, right? So let's go to our discover links function, and this function discover links takes in the response, that we'll get from getRequest function takes the base URL as well. So here we'll say response, which is of type HTTP response, it's a pointer, and we'll take the base URL, which is of type string. And what do we return from here? Discover links. We return links, right? So which is basically a slice of type string. So yeah, the spelling is wrong, sorry. So if response not equal to nil, that means we've sent some response to this function. Then what we'll do is we'll call the goQuery function, goQuery package, this one, and we'll create new document from it. So we'll say new document from response. So our goQuery package basically was created to take the response that you get and to create a readable document from it. Readable, by readable I mean that Golang can read from it, right? So, and this is where you'll pass your response. Okay. And we'll take a variable called doc, and then we'll take this blank character here for the error. So this will return a document, and that we'll store in our doc function. And we'll take a variable called found URLs. It'll be a slice of type string. It'll be empty for now. And now then we have to start writing some code to work with our doc, right? So we'll say if doc not equal to nil, then we'll do something here, which is basically finding those links, right? So we'll find links, and then at the end all we have to do basically is return these found URLs. That's what this function is doing, right? And if this doc is empty, then you just say else return an empty slice of strings. So if doc had some values, then we'll have to do something, and then we'll return found URLs, or we'll just return an empty slice of strings, right? So this is the code that we have to write in our next video, and I'll keep this video short because we have a lot more to do, right? So we'll have to work on this function, we have to work on our resolve relative links function, and then we have to test our code, and we have to fix all those errors, and of which I'm sure there'll be a lot of errors in, but we'll fix them together, so you don't have to worry. Do subscribe to this channel so you come to know when the next video of this series comes out. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next episode.